All right, GPT 5.5. This is it. We have it now. And the thing that we have learned is that there is just a marketing juggernaut going on YouTube and other social media sites that are just going to hype these things no matter what they are. Because when we look at this one, you can see within hours of it releasing, we've got people who've had early access to it who already have 30-minute videos out about how amazing it is. OpenAI is back. It can build anything, beast mode. So these, just like people who have access to politicians, if you say anything bad about them, you're going to lose your access. Same thing goes here, I'm assuming, just based on all of human history, that these people get the access, they're going to they're going to pick the good things and ignore the bad things. So take these videos with a grain of salt when they're out right away and they've got these nothing but good things to say. Because when we look at the actual release here, we see the numbers and they've gone up. There's not going to say there's not anything here, but very little meat. Like this half a less than a percent, less than a percent, a little bit more than a percent. So certainly doesn't seem like it warrants this huge fanfare. We keep going down. We see some of these numbers are better. The token consumption they claim is better, so that's good. We've got the standard geometry game based on a hilarious kind of like super vibe codey prompt. Think step by step, take a deep breath. Imagine you're writing an instruction message. So using telling a token prediction equation to take a deep breath is kind of hilarious. This is just more of their marketing tactics where they get people emotionally invested in this. They don't care if it causes AI psychosis. They don't care if it drives people crazy and makes CEOs bonkers and think they can run whole companies by themselves. They don't care. So they just keep doing this. Then we have a couple of CEOs of these tiny little AI startups that have all these wonderful things to say, which this one in particular is kind of hilarious because as an AI first company, you would think that this guy had seen a coding model that used serious conceptual clarity before, but apparently for him this is the first one. I'm not sure how much faith I put in that statement. And then we have another CEO of another little AI startup that says he genuinely feels like he's working with higher intelligence. So they don't want to remind you that this is a token prediction algorithm. They want you to think that it's smart and that it has the ability, it has discernment, and it can think and figure things out for you. It's really just predicting what it thinks is the next correct output based on an equation. Just a reminder of that. So it does definitely not have respect for you. It does not have thoughts. It doesn't have feelings. So again, this is more language that they just love to throw out there, even though it's pretty dangerous. And speaking of dangerous, down here we have another example of something they say it was used for, which was an immunology professor used it to summarize the findings of some genetic data, and it also surfaced key questions and insights. So this is super dangerous. Like, what was the prompt? Are people just taking it's horrifying to think that you would just give all this genetic data to an LLM and say, give me the key insights, because it's very likely that if there are no key insights, it'll still give you some anyway. Like if it determines that it thinks that's the correct answer, that's what it's going to give you, regardless of what the facts are. So we are at a point now where more and more we see, especially in the medical field and the financial field, these companies are trying to push into these industries, and that's the most dangerous place that they should not go. Even on this page, it says work that would have taken their team months. There's some work that should take a long time and should be done very carefully and should not be, led by a token generator. And again, LLMs have utility. They can synthesize and summarize. They can output code. It could be a good starting point. They can help bounce ideas back and forth, but they do not figure things out. They don't reason. They're not reasoning. They're using an equation to predict what they think will be the correct output based on the token weight of the tokens, and that's it. So everyone has to keep that in mind, and it's critically important that if we're going to let people use LLMs in these critical industries, they understand how to use them, what they are, what they can do, and what they can't do. So all this marketing makes me worried for the future, for worried what people, non-technical people, are gonna basically fall for and believe from these companies about what these things can do and how they're doing it. And we anyone who knows better should always pause the conversation and make sure that people are aware of what they're signing up for, and not believe these press releases and all of these hype videos that come out when these new models come out.